Hi, Cheryl Newhouse, New Hue Handspuns here with part 2 of processing the Corriedale fleece. I've cut, picked, washed, and now it's time to card the fiber. After it's dried, I've got these lovely little clumps, but the good thing about them is that they just pop and spring right open. And I just fluff this. A lot of that small fiber's falling out again. Be sure to shake it as I'm fluffing it. And then it goes into the basket of picked fiber. From the picked fiber, it's now time to card. Now, I've had these hand cards for, let's see, about 24 years now. Or 22, probably 22 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. Over 20 years, we'll call it. I'm also left-hand, right-hand deficient. I can never tell them apart. And working with your hand cards to keep them in their best shape, use them the same way all the time without bending things. So here's Cheryl left and Cheryl right. Now, the type of carding I'm doing isn't going to fall into a lot of categories, but this is what I'm doing. I'm doing a worsted prep, a woolen prep, but I want more of a worsted look. I want a nice smooth yarn. It's going to be used for some embroidery, so I want to have nice, solid, smooth yarn. So first we're going to start by loading up the carder. Most people, the biggest problem they have is they overload the carder. Oh, and get all this on here. It's like, yeah, it can be done, but that's a mess. Why make it harder for yourself? So let's start out, and we're just going to put a little bit on. Now, I'm just holding my left-hand carder straight out. My right, I'm brushing over it. And I'm just combing or brushing these straight down. So for the most part, all the fibers are going to line in a straight line, except for at the very top, you're going to have these little hooks here, which is what I spin from. So it's kind of a combination of spinning from the fold and spinning a combed fiber. I like it. So anyhow, I've got my first layer on here. I've combed it down, making sure that there's no little noils sitting there. And when you do small amounts like this, you can easily see them. So I just grab another little bit of fiber. I'm just going to load a little bit more on. That's a little too heavy. There we go. Just a tiny bit of fiber. And you're not going to smash it down in there. You're just lifting it up, letting it like you're just brushing through with the tips. Now I've spent about 10 years hand carding fibers. And I did anywhere from 125 to 150 pounds a year of fiber in hand carding, which I just love the control over it. I tried drum carders, and they're good, and they work fine, but they're just, everybody's got their own preference, and mine just happen to be hand cards. So I've done that. And you just keep loading up, but small amounts. I'm brushing it down. See it hooks, just keep brushing at them till they're straight. Now if I want to get some more off of this brush, as I push down, I'm rocking up a bit so that I kind of leave some there. See how it's left some? And then I can brush that down again. And then leave a little bit more and brush it down. I don't worry about emptying the right-hand carder that much. I'm just piling it on the left. We're going to do one more load here. Once again, just a little bit. You can just take it and pop it on there a little bit. Now, if I were blending, I'd be going back and forth between whichever fibers I was going for. I used to do a merino and Angora bunny blend that was just gorgeously soft and wonderful. Now, this isn't a super full one, but for time, I want to keep it quicker here. So, now to get it off, I'm just going to take it and lift the edge off. That's all I'm doing is just the very edge. Then pull it up a little bit so that it fluffs down to the end. And then I will just pull it off. It's a little hard to do with the camera in between us here. But there is my combed, as you can see, carded. But it's all very straight except for the very top there. When I spin, I start spinning from here, so it's just like spinning from the fold. Catches on real nice and turns into one long roll leg as you pull off. I don't worry about turning them into true rollags of rolled up and everything, because I don't want the fiber that woolen. I want it straight and worsted more so. So it takes a little while to card all these. We're going to turn the camera here, and you can see that I've got a nice big bin here full. That is 1 pound of carded fiber. This is a 7-pound fleece, but the thing with it is it's losing about 50% due to the high lanolin, dirt, and snipping of the tips. 50% loss isn't unusual or unheard of. So we'll end up with about 3.5 pounds of fiber, and we'll divvy that up, and I will get to spinning it. I need to talk to the producer of fiber and see if there's anything particular they might like. It's my choice of what to spin in this particular contract, so I'll do whatever I feel like, but I'd like to get their idea and see what they might like. But here is the finished fiber into a nice 3-ply Navajo chain ply, and this is what will be used for the embroidery. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here or not, as this sample here is the first I spun with the tip still in there. And let's see if we can see. Yeah, here I think you're going to be able to see it with the shadow of the light and the dark, how there's some real lumpy, it's not horrible, but it's just not a nice, smooth. You've got a lot more noils in there, and they're just going to simply be bumps. Now with a heavier yarn, they would hide a little bit better, so it wouldn't be, quite so noticeable. So that is the reason that I do all this snipping, because this is a much nicer yarn. There's still a few slubs in there. Don't, get me wrong. It's not going to be perfect, and it's not expected to be perfect. And you can see there's still a little bit of vegetation in there, which is okay for the project that's being done. Like I said, it needs a little rustic, but I need a smooth, good yarn. So anyhow, I'm very happy with the fleece. As I said, it turned out to be more work than I was expecting, but not undoable, not, a real problem. Got through it, and looking forward to the next fleece I take on. Still got about another 1.5 pounds in that cooler to get trimmed up first, though, before I worry about my next project. Happy spinning!